Dark clouds rolled over the silver towers of Valari Prime as Soraya, once a proud officer of the Valari Empire, walked into the grand hall. Her steps were slow, heavy, and full of fear. She had served her people with loyalty for many years. But today, she stood accused of a crime she did not commit. High Commander Rethner, her enemy, waited on the raised platform. His cold smile told her everything. This trial was not about justice. It was about power. The hall was filled with Valari citizens. Their glowing eyes watched silently as Soraya moved forward. She stood tall, even though her heart broke inside. Her chest, Rethner raised his voice. "Soraya of House Velner, you are guilty of betrayal." Gasps filled the room. Soraya shook her head. "I did nothing. I protected the border. I followed orders," but Rethner leaned forward. "Your voice is nothing now." Two guards grabbed her arms. She tried to pull away, but they were too strong. The council did not speak. No one defended her. In Valari culture, a single accusation from a high commander was stronger than truth. Rethner lifted a crystal device shaped like a small star. It burned with bright white energy. Nada froze. She knew this device. The light of silence, the punishment for traitors. Her breath trembled. "Please, this is wrong." Rethner's smile sharpened. "Let the darkness take your sight, and let silence break your voice." The star-like device ignited. A beam of blinding light struck her eyes. Soraya screamed. Her hands tried to cover her face, but guards kept her still. The burning light stole all color, then all shapes, then everything. In seconds, her world turned black. Another flash struck her throat. Her voice cracked, broken, nearly gone. The crowd watched with cold faces. Valari justice had no mercy. When the light faded, Soraya fell to her knees. She could not see. She could barely speak. Tears slid down her cheeks, but even she could not hear the sound of her own crying. Rethner spoke one last time. "You are no longer Valari. You are nothing. Throw her away." Guards dragged her to a small escape pod. She reached out blindly, hoping to touch something familiar, anything. But her hands closed on empty air. The door slammed shut. The pod launched into space with a violent jolt, throwing her to the floor. The engines roared, then silence followed. Long silence. Endless silence. Alone, blind, broken. After many hours, the pod crashed on a dead moon. The impact threw her out of the seat. Pain spread through her body. She crawled toward the cold ground. Outside, feeling dust under her fingers. The darkness around her was complete. But she heard something. Small clicks. Tiny metallic footsteps. Her breath stopped. There was something on this moon. For 10 long years, she survived in this darkness. She learned to move slowly, carefully. She felt the cold wind, the rough rocks, and the vibrations under her feet. She lived like a shadow, a ghost, a forgotten soul. Every night she heard the same strange sounds, machines moving under the ground, but she never found them. And she never understood why they never attacked her. She thought the universe had abandoned her dot until one day, a new sound came from the sky. A ship, not Valari. A human ship, its engines shook the ground. Soraya crawled behind a rock, fear filling her chest. She heard unfamiliar voices, human voices, walking closer. Then footsteps stopped near her hiding place. A gentle voice said softly, "Hello. Are you hurt? I won't harm you." Soraya froze. For the first time in 10 years, she felt a spark of hope and fear return, because someone had finally found her. Asterisk. The human voice echoed softly across the empty moon surface, breaking 10 long years of silence. "Hello. Can you hear me?" Soraya did not move. She pressed. herself against the cold rock, holding her breath. Her blind eyes stared into the darkness that had become her world. Humans were supposed to be weak at least. That was what she had been taught. But right now, she feared them more than the silence. Heavy boots stepped closer. "It's okay," the voice said again, warmer this time. "I'm not here to hurt you." Soraya tried to speak, but only a broken whisper left her damaged throat. She hated that sound. It reminded her of everything she had lost. The ground vibrated as the human kneeled beside the rock. She felt his presence like a warm energy, so different from the cold, emotionless Valari soldiers. A gentle breath escaped the human. "You're not Valari soldier, are you?" Soraya flinched. How could he know? Suddenly her foot slipped on loose. Dust, her body rolled out from behind the rock. She landed hard, and a small cry escaped her. Pain shot through her ribs. The human gasped softly. "Hey, easy. You're hurt." She scrambled backward, hands searching the ground like claws. She expected him to attack, to punish, to finish what the Valari Council started. That was what power meant in her world. But instead, he stepped back. He gave her space. No Valari would ever do that. The man raised his hands slowly, as if talking to a frightened animal. "My name is Evan," he said. "Engineer. Human engineer." Soraya swallowed hard, trying to find her voice, but all she could manage was a cracked sound. She pointed at her eyes, hoping he would understand. He studied her face. When he spoke again, his voice carried shock and sympathy. "You're blind." Her fingers trembled. She nodded, just once. Evan walked closer, but did not touch her. Instead, he placed something near her hand, a small beacon, warm and humming softly. She felt its heat through her fingertips. "I'm leaving this here," he said gently. "If you want help, follow the sound." Then his footsteps faded away. Soraya sat motionless. Why would a stranger give her a choice? Valari never gave choices. For a long moment, she listened to the beacon's soft pulse. Each beat felt like a tiny hand reaching for her. Finally, slowly, she crawled toward it. When her hand touched the device, she felt a warm sparklight, gentle, almost comforting. She held it to her chest as if it were life itself. Then she followed. It sounded toward the human ship. The air inside the ship was warm. Different, it smelled of metal, a cloth, and something sweet she could not name. Evan guided her with simple words. "Step up, careful. I've got you." He never forced her. He never pushed. To Soraya, that was more shocking than anything else. Inside, her body broke from exhaustion. She collapsed onto the floor, muscles shaking. Evan quickly checked her pulse, her breathing. His hands were careful, respectful. "How long have you been alone?" he whispered. Soraya moved her fingers, drawing a circle in the floor. Then another. 10 circles total. Evan's breath caught. 10 years. She nodded slowly. He sat beside her, silent for a long moment. Then he spoke the most unbelievable words she had ever heard. "I can help you see again." Soraya's entire body stiffened. Her blind eyes widened, though they saw nothing. Help. Sight. Impossible. But Evan continued, voice steady and honest. "Your wounds, they're not natural injury. They were made by a light weapon. And I think, maybe I can repair the damage." Soraya felt her heart pound faster. The thought of seeing again terrified her more than darkness. Because hope was dangerous, Evan touched her shoulder softly. "I won't do anything without your permission. But you don't have to live like this anymore." For the first time in a decade, Soraya felt something warm spread through her chest. Hope, small, fragile, but alive, and neither of them knew. Valari scanners had detected her signal, her past. What's coming back? Inside the human ship Aurora, Soraya sat quietly in a corner, wrapped in a soft blanket. After 10 years of cold stone and dust, the warm cloth felt unreal against her skin. She touched it again and again, afraid it might disappear. Evan stood a few steps away, speaking softly into a communicator. He tried not to disturb her, but she listened anyway. Sight was gone, but her hearing was sharp now. "Yes, Captain, she's Valari," Evan whispered. A long silence followed. "No, I don't think she's dangerous. She's blind, weak, and terrified." Soraya hugged the blanket tighter. She hated being described like that weak, but she knew it was true. Footsteps approached. Heavy, firm, commanding, the human captain. Soraya straightened herself. She lifted her chin, remembering her old training. Even blind, she would not sit like a frightened child. The captain's voice was cold. "Stand her up." Evan helped her gently, but she pulled her arm away. Pride still lived inside her. She stood on her own, wobbling slightly. The captain circled her, his boots tapping against the metal floor. "A Valari survivor. After everything your people did to us." Soraya's heart tightened. She wanted to speak, to explain she was no enemy, but her damaged voice cracked and failed. Only a small sound came out. The captain crossed his arms. "We should leave her here. Valari law does not forgive strays." Leave her? On this moon again? Her knees weakened at the thought. 10 more years. Or death. Evan stepped forward quickly. "Captain, she's not like the others. She needs help." "Not our problem," the captain replied. "Her people blinded and abandoned her. That is their justice." Soraya felt the words stab deeper than any weapon. She took a slow breath and touched her throat. "No. Justice," she whispered painfully. The captain paused, surprised she could speak at all. Evan quickly knelt beside her. "Soraya." "Okay." But Soraya shook her head. She wanted to speak for herself. She pointed at her eyes, then at her throat, then at the floret, the place of exile. Her message was clear, even without words. "They did this to me, not you." The captain inhaled sharply. For the first time, he saw a person, not a Valari enemy. Still, hesitation remained. Evan took a deep breath. "Captain, there's something else." The captain grunted. "Say it." Evan pulled up a holographic screen. Soraya couldn't see it, but she heard the soft hum of the projector. "These are old Valari medical files. They show her eye damage can be reversed." Soraya froze. Reversed. Her fingers trembled on the blanket. Evan. Continued voice filled with both hope and fear. "I have tools on the ship. I think I can do it, but it's illegal. Valari tech is forbidden." The room grew quiet. Even the engines seemed to hold their breath. The captain looked at Evan for a long moment. "If the Valari find out," he warned. Evan nodded. "Then they'll come for her." Soraya could feel the tension in the air. She sensed Evan's heartbeat, fast, worried. He was risking himself for her. Why? Why would a human care? Finally, the captain sighed heavily. "Do what you want, Evan. She stays. But—" his tone hardened. "If she becomes a danger, I end this myself." Soraya bowed her head slightly, not in fear, but in respect. She understood the rule. She accepted it. Evan helped her sit again. His voice was gentle, full of something she had never known before. "Kindness, Soraya. I will try to fix your sight, but only if you want it." She touched his hand lightly. Her voice wavered but carried truth. "Want? To see?" Evan smiled, though she couldn't see it. "Then, I promise you, I will give you light again." But deep inside the ship, an alarm blinked silently. A Valari beacon had activated. They knew Soraya was alive, and they were coming. The medical room inside the Aurora was quiet. Almost too quiet. Soft blue lights shone from the walls, and a low hum came from the machines. Soraya sat in the middle of the room, feeling every sound, every vibration through her skin. For 10 years, she had lived in darkness. Now, for the first time, she felt a chance small, fragile of seeing again. Evan stood beside her, preparing the equipment. His hands moved quickly, but carefully. Each tool made a different sound. The click of metal, the soft whir of a scanner, the gentle hiss of cooling air. Soraya listened to all of it. "Are you ready?" Evan asked softly. She touched her chest where her heart beat fast, too fast. She was not ready. She would never be ready. But she nodded anyway. Evan smiled a little. "I'll explain everything. Nothing will happen without warning." He placed a small handheld device near her forehead. She felt its gentle heat. "This is a visual scanner," he said. "It checks your eye tissue. It won't hurt." But Soraya still flinched. She remembered the other device, the burning star that blinded her. Evan noticed her trembling and paused. "Soraya, this is not Valari punishment. This is human medicine. I'm here to help you, not hurt you." She reached out slowly until her fingers found his. His hand was warm, steady. She held on for a moment, grounding herself. Then she let go. The scanner activated. A soft hum, a warm glow. Nothing like the painful light of the past. Evan studied the readings. "Good news," he said quietly. "Your optic nerves are damaged, but not dead. If we stimulate them and rebuild the tissue, your sight may return." Soraya's breath caught. Sight. The idea felt impossible, like a dream from another lifetime. But dreams could be broken. "Pain," she whispered. Evan hesitated, a little, but nothing like what was done. "To you," she nodded again. Pain was nothing compared to 10 years of darkness. Evan prepared the larger machine, an old piece of stolen Valari technology mixed with human repairs. Its core glowed bright blue, and the air around it hummed with energy. Soraya felt the vibration. "Through the floor, this machine. It will use controlled light to repair your eyes," Evan explained. "Think of it as reversing the damage." Soraya touched her face slowly, tracing the scars left by the punishment. Could light really undo light? Evan guided her into a reclining chair. He placed a soft band around her head to keep her still. "If you feel anything wrong, just raise your hand," he said. "I'll stop immediately." She lifted her hand once to show she understood. The machine lowered around her head like a quiet, seared lowing helmet. A whisper of fear crept inside her. This was the same position she was in the day she was blinded, but this time Evan stood beside her. "Beginning procedure," he said. A warm beam touched her eyelids. Soraya gasped. It didn't burn, it soothed. Another beam followed, deeper, sharper. Pain flickered, but she clenched her fists and stayed still. Evan placed his hand on her shoulder. "You're doing great." Light pulsed again, then again. Each wave felt like a memory trying to return. Shapes, colors, voices, all lost in the darkness. Then something changed. A faint spark danced behind her closed eyelids, tiny flash, like distant stars. Soraya's lips parted. Her fingers trembled. Evan leaned closer. "Soraya, can you see anything?" She tried to open her eyes. Pain stabbed through them, sharp but brief. Then a blur, a shadow, a soft glow. Nothing clear, but something was there. "Light," she whispered. Her voice shook with disbelief. "I see light." Evan exhaled deeply, relief flooding his face. "It worked," he murmured. "Your sight is coming back." Tears slipped down Soraya's cheeks, not from pain, but from hope so powerful it almost hurt. Evan wiped one tear, gently. "Welcome back," he said. But before joy could fully settle, the ship's main alarm blared. A harsh, cold voice echoed through the speakers. Unidentified Valari signal detected. Approaching fast, Soraya's heart froze. Evan met her half-blurry gaze. Your people. They found you. And somewhere deep in the darkness of space, a Valari warship was coming straight for them. Red warning lights flashed through the hallways of the Aurora as the alarm continued to scream. Soraya, still lying in the medical chair, felt the entire ship tremble. She tried to sit up, but her body was weak from the procedure. Evan rushed to her side. Easy, easy, don't move too fast. Her half-restored eyes opened slowly. Everything was blurry, like looking through water. But she could make out shapes, now soft outlines, shadows, hints of color. Evan was a tall blur, glowing faintly in the blue lights. What happening? She whispered. Evan swallowed hard. A Valari ship. They must have traced your old beacon signal. Soraya's chest tightened. Her people, her past. Her punishment. They had come back to finish what they started. The captain entered the medical room, boots striking the floor sharply. Even as a blur, Soraya recognized his posture, strong, strict, ready for war. Evan, he said, we have a problem, a very big one. Evan stood protectively between Soraya and the captain. How close are they? Minutes away. The words hit Soraya like a cold blade. The captain continued. We send a message, they ignore it. We show no threat, they aim weapons. They're not here to talk. Soraya knew exactly who commanded such a ship. Root. If he learned she could see again, he would never allow her to live. Her hands shook as she whispered, they want me. Evan turned to her. They're not taking you. Not after everything you survived. But the captain's voice hardened. We are not risking human lives for a Valari exile. They want her, they take her. Soraya felt the room tilt. The blanket slipped off her shoulders. Evan grabbed it and wrapped it back around her gently. Captain Evan argued, she's innocent, her own people destroyed her for nothing. That is not our fight, the captain snapped. Soraya tried to stand. Her legs trembled, but she forced herself upright. Even half-blind, she faced the captain with what little dignity she had. I leave, she whispered. Safe for you. Evan's eyes widened. No, absolutely not. Soraya shook her head. Your people, help me. I not hurt you. The captain stared at her, surprised by her resolve. But his face softened only slightly. You don't understand how dangerous Valari are, he said. Your presence puts us all at risk. Soraya held her breath. She understood very well. She had lived under Valari cruelty her entire life. Evan stepped closer to Soraya. Listen to me, he said gently. You don't have to go back to them. Not ever. Her half-blurry gaze searched his face. Why? Why would a human care? Why fight for her? Because humans were different. The captain looked between both of them and sighed. The Valari ship is ordering us to surrender the traitor. Their exact words. Soraya closed her eyes. She knew Rethner's language too well. Evan clenched his fists. We're not handing her over. Then prepare for a fight, the captain said. The ship shook violently as the first Valari warning shot passed by. The lights flickered. The engines groaned. Soraya grabbed Evan's arm to stay balanced. They attack, she asked. The captain nodded. This is war for them. They want to erase you. Fear surged inside her, not for herself, but for these humans who had shown her kindness she had never known. Captain Soraya whispered, I talk. Maybe stop. Evan frowned. Your people don't listen. Soraya touched her throat, feeling the healed scars. Rethner? Want to silence me forever. The captain raised a brow. Rethner, commander, who blind me. Evan's expression hardened with anger. Then you're definitely not going back. The ship shook again, stronger this time. A second shot grazed aside, sending sparks across the hall. Shields dropping. Someone shouted through the intercom. Weapons ready. Soraya felt helpless. Half-blind, weak. But she couldn't let these humans fight her battle. She stepped forward, wobbling but determined. I face him, she said softly, but not alone. Evan's voice was firm. You'll never face him. Alone again. Outside the ship, the Valari warship grew closer, its dark wings spreading like a predator preparing to strike. The hunt had begun, and Soraya's past was about to collide with her new future. The Aurora shook under another blast, sending sparks across the command deck. Soraya held onto a railing, her half-restored eyes struggling to focus on shifting shapes and flashing lights. Humans ran past her, preparing weapons, sealing doors. Shouting warnings. The Valari warship was no longer ferret, was right outside, its massive shadow covering the moon's surface like a dark wing. Evan guided Soraya toward the center console. Stay with me, he said firmly. Don't let go, she nodded. His voice was her anchor in the storm. The captain shouted orders. Redirect power to shields. Charge plasma cannons. A crew member yelled back. Shields at 40%. We won't survive another hit like that. Soraya's throat tightened. This was not their war. This was hers. The Valari communication. Channels suddenly opened, filling the room with a cold, familiar voice. Soraya. Her heart froze. Commander Rethnor, even blurry, she recognized the outline of his face on the hologram sharp. Cruel, smiling with the confidence of a hunter who already owned his prey. You live, Rethnor said, but not for long. Evans stepped in front of her, blocking Rethnor's view. She's under human protection. You can't touch her. Rethnor laughed, a low, mocking sound. Human. You do not understand Valari law. The traitor belongs to us. Soraya forced herself to speak. Her voice cracked but carried strength. I not. Traitor. Rethnor's golden eyes narrowed. You dare speak? After your shame, Soraya touched her throat. You fear my voice. Rethnor's smile vanished. The captain whispered to Evan, keep him talking. Maybe we buy time. But Soraya stepped forward. Rethnor, you lie. You blind me. Because I know truth. The crew stared at her, shocked. Even Evan looked surprised. He had never heard her speak with such fire. Rethnor's face hardened. Enough. But Soraya continued, her courage growing with every word. You start war. You kill innocents. You blame me to hide your crime? A ripple of silence spread through the human deck. Evan's jaw clenched. Is that true? Yes. Soraya nodded slowly. He attacked human colony without council order. I stop him reporting numbers. He say I betray Valari. Rethnor slammed his fist on his console. Lies. But his voice cracked just slightly. Soraya felt it fear behind the anger. She raised her head higher. You blind me, so no one see your truth. The hologram flickered. Rethnor leaned closer. Rage shaking his voice. You think these humans will save you? Do you think they care? Evan stepped beside Soraya, placing a hand on her shoulder gently. I do. Soraya blinked. Her blurry vision caught the shape of his face soft edges. A warm glow. Rethnor's expression twisted with disgust. Pathetic. At that moment, the Valari ship fired again. The Aurora twisted from the hit, metal groaning. Soraya fell to her knees, but Evan caught her before she hit the floor. We can't keep taking hits. A crew member shouted. Shields almost gone. The captain made a quick decision. Prepare counterfire. Target their engines. Soraya shook her head desperately. No. They kill you if you fight. Rethnor want war. But the captains stood firm. Then we survive war. Evan helped Soraya stand. There has to be another way. He murmured, then Soraya remembered something. A Valari emergency command code old. It's forbidden and buried deep in her memory. A code only high officers knew. A code that could force Valari ships into pause protocol for investigation. A code Rethnar would never expect. She gripped Evan's arm. Take me too, comes. Now? Evan nodded, guiding her quickly. Even half-blind, she moved with purpose. At the communication panel, Soraya placed her hand on the controls. Open channel, she whispered. Rethnar reappeared on the screen. Your last moments, Soraya. Speak them well. She inhaled deeply, pushing her voice past the pain. By Valari, emergency law. Code. Velnar 7 Black. Rethnar froze. His crew behind him also froze. The bridge of the Valari ship went silent. Soraya continued. Louder. Initiate. Pause protocol. All power to neutral mode. Every Valari officer in Rethnar's ship turned toward him immediately. Shock, confusion, fear, because only a wrongfully punished officer could legally speak that code, and the ship had to obey. The lights on the Valari warship flickered, then shut down. Weapons stopped, engines died. The massive ship drifted in space. Powerless. Gasps spread across the aurora. Soraya slowly lowered her hand from the panel. Rethnar. She said, your lies end today. The commander stared at her, face pale, rage burning in his eyes. For the first time, Rethnar was afraid. Asterisk, the Valari warship hung in space like a silent giant. Lights dead, weapons frozen. The aurora floated. A safe distance away, its human crew stunned by what Soraya had done. No one human or Valari had ever seen a single voice shut down an entire enemy ship. Soraya stood tall despite her weakness. Her vision was still blurry, but brighter now. Shapes had edges, lights had color. Evan stood beside her, ready to catch her if she fell. Is their ship truly disabled? The captain asked. Soraya nodded. Pause protocol strong. Only council can break it? The captain looked impressed and worried. So what now? Soraya breathed deeply. I face Rethnar. Evan immediately stepped forward. You're not going there alone. She turned toward him, her blurred gaze softening. I start this. I must finish it. But Evan shook his head. You didn't start anything. He did. Soraya's heart tightened. Humans cared in ways she never understood. In Valari culture, no one defended the weak. No one stood beside the fallen. The captain spoke firmly. Evan will go with you. Gwiki comes open. If something happens, we get you out. Soraya bowed her head in gratitude. Minutes later, the small human shuttle detached from the aurora and drifted toward the powerless Valari flagship. Through her half-healed eyes, Soraya saw the massive shape grow larger dark metal wings. Sharp edges, glowing scars of war. Memories clawed at her mind, but she didn't turn away. Evan placed a steady hand on her back as the shuttle docked. When the doors opened, cold air rushed in. Soraya stepped inside the ship she once served, now silent as a grave. Valari soldiers stood frozen by protocol, unable to move or attack. Their silver armor glowed faintly under dim emergency lights. They watched her. They recognized her. Some looked shocked, others ashamed. Whispers broke through the silence. That is Soraya, the blinded one. She lives. Soraya walked past them with slow steps. Evan stayed close, but she didn't lean on him. This moment was hers. At the end of the corridor, the large door to the command chamber slid open. Rethnar waited inside, even powerless. He looked dangerous dull, proud eyes burning with fury. But Soraya also saw something she had never seen in him before. Fear. He stepped forward. "You dare enter my ship." Soraya's voice was clear, stronger than ever. "Your ship, obey me now." His jaw clenched. "You used a forbidden code. That is treason." Soraya met his glare. "You blinded me without trial. That is treason." The Valari crew outside listened in silence. Evan's voice came through her. "Come, earpiece. We hear everything. Say what you need to say." Soraya lifted her chin. "Rethner, you attacked human colony illegally. You kill many. You hide truth." Rethnor laughed loudly, but his eyes shook. "Who will believe a broken exile? Look at yourself." Her fingers brushed the scars on her face. "Yes, I broke, but I stand." She stepped closer, and now I see. Rethnor froze. He had not expected her sight to return. Soraya pressed a button on her wristband. A hologram appeared. Valari battle logs, shield readings, firing records. Proof of Rethnor's unauthorized attack. The crew gasped. Rethnor lunged forward. But Soraya raised her hand. "Pause protocol. Command lock." Rethnor froze in place, body stiff, muscles unable to move. Only his furious eyes still burned. Soraya walked around him slowly. "You silence me for 10 years. You throw me away. But truth never die." Her voice shook not from fear, but from the weight of everything she survived. "I choose justice, not revenge." She turned away, leaving Rethnor trapped in the stasis field. Behind her, Valari soldiers knelt one by one, heads bowed. Not out of fear. Out of respect. For the first time, they saw her not as a traitor, but as the warrior she truly was. A new path back on the Aurora. When the shuttle returned, Evan helped Soraya step onto the deck. Her vision sharpened enough to see his outline, clearly soft hair, warm eyes, a human smile. The captain approached. "Valari Council received your evidence. Rethnor is done. They restored your honor and offered you a place back." Soraya's heart tightened. A place back. Back to the people who broke her. She turned toward Evans, saw him clearly for the first time. "My future is here," she said softly. "With those who gave me back my sight." Evan smiled. At that moment, the scanners beeped. Another signal from the moon. Strange machines. Waking underground, the same sound Soraya had heard for 10 years. Evan frowned. "What is that?" Soraya looked into the distance, vision clearer than ever. Something. Watching. For a long time. A new story was beginning, but for now she had won her freedom, her sight, her truth, her light.